Check 1, 2. All right, so welcome back, my friends. Today is a price action review video, and we're just gonna jump right on in. All right, so let's just build a narrative here. What are we seeing on the higher time frame charts? Let's just go straight from the daily down. Basically, what I'm seeing here is we've had a super clear sweep of this major sell side liquidity pool, and then we ended up rejecting. So basically, the body here is kind of the tell for me as to if we're going to use this area here as resistance to then trade back into and lower, or are we going like we did today? We're going to sweep through this, come back up, use it as support to then go higher. Okay, so that's like the basic idea of being able to be flexible and seeing what happens around this area right here. I'll mark this out and we'll just leave this on here. All right, so let's go down to the hour, and then you can see right where midnight opened, right at that level. We use that as support to then go higher. So that was kind of the MO that I was looking for today. In particular, I was looking for a market maker buy model to complete this guy right here. And the reason for that being is we've had internal change in the state of delivery. And I'm just going to go through market structure here. There we go. So basically, what is the previous couple weeks been doing? We've made a bunch of buy side liquidity we've generated up here. So that's a big pool that I see. What do I see previously that just happened? I see that we had this massive pool here that was tapped into, but not fully. So this area right here, let me get the arrow. This area right here never took this out. Okay. This move last week where we made the low of last week, we took that area out. So now what am I expecting here? Okay. We've taken a major sell side pool. Yes, there are further targets that we could seek lower. However, with this being this whole pool taken, this right here took that, everything in here took that. A majority of, what was underneath these lows, obviously there's still this downward area where there's probably stuff down here too, but needless to say, price swept this area. So we're looking for some kind of reaction. We ended up getting that into I guess this was the Friday's low actually. So this was, last week was actually roughly like here. So I guess this is like last Friday's low before close, but we had that reaction where we came up and look where the bodies stop here. So this is what is the tell for me. We engineered this high and this high just before this high. The bulk of the bodies are closing below the bulk of the bodies here. Engineered highs here. So let me zoom in a little bit and show this a little bit more. This is lower than this high. These bodies are lower than these bodies. This high is lower than this high and this high and this high. The bodies of these candles are lower than the bodies of these candles, are lower than the bodies of these candles. So basically that's telling me this is just engineered liquidity to be taken out at a later time. We have our objective to retrace back to OTE, right? Market maker model plus OTE, fractalize that. 1 + 2 = 3. If that doesn't mean anything to you, that's okay. Not that big of a deal. Not something you need to understand at this very moment in time. But what do we see? What do we see? So market maker model was essentially completed. However, on the higher time frame, we've been bearish all the way until right here. So this is like a big market maker buy model. Okay. Now inside of this, we have the smaller internal model here. And this is what played out last week where we came up here and then we ended up coming back down. Now, to me, you could check if there's SMT here. I'm not going to look at that right now. To me, this is still the market maker buy side of the curve to me. So then coming into today, I'm looking for the same model that the higher time frame is showing to trade in the direction on a fractal model right here. So if you see that, that's a nice little nested market maker model inside of a market maker model inside of the higher time frame market maker model. So this is a set of 3, I guess you could say. And obviously there are more in here, like this is like on a 1 minute chart. That's one. This is like a sub 1 minute chart one here. There's one here. Now, granted, you're on the manipulation side of the curve, so you might actually want to be looking for a little bit different. So you probably would want to be looking for sell models, to be honest, on the left side of the curve here. And plus you have like these super clean liquidity sweep here. You have a super clean area that price had rejected right here. Look at where all the bodies are holding. Okay, we have a PD array that blasts through those. We're holding that. And like, however you want to look at it, you can, but just the idea that there's the fractal market maker models inside of the higher time frame price structure is kind of what I'm getting at. But this is basically what sets up the bias for today, for me, okay? We are bullish for the day, okay? Now, what does our midnight price open do? Okay, we open, we chop around, we make a small swing right towards the body of that one candle on the daily. This is the body, the settlement price of that candle on the daily, right? I'll go back just to make sure it makes sense. See here, or sorry, the open price, not settlement. Settlement would be closed up here, but let me put on my magnet again. I think I turned that off. That way it's accurate. All right, so that's this right here. This is the opening price of Monday the 9th. Okay, what do we see? What do we see? Sorry, I went down to the 1 minute. Let's go back down to the hourly, getting ahead of myself here. All right, so we talked about our pool liquidity, get rid of that. Talk about the engineered highs, get rid of that. Basically, this is a long setup for me coming into the day. Look at how we respected this area here. Now, let's just throw a body-to-body OTE on here. Look at this right here. Okay. So see where this 70.5 OTE, we sweep liquidity. This low right here sweeps this liquidity here. There is this order block that we hit right here, imbalances in here. So this set of imbalances here, use this to take this higher. We come trade back down to this area, We're in the OTE. Now, what I like to do a lot of times when looking at the charts while I'm not trading is you just kind of take a look to see where the middle of your OTE zone, basically treat it like a PD array, right? So a continuation often comes to this OTE area, optimal trade entry. We have our higher time frame market maker buy model narrative going on. We're looking for the same model off of a continuation fractalized down. So we have our model, right? We're looking for a continuation off of this OTE area. We have our model inside of our model, and then you're off to the races. Pretty much as easy as it gets, right? Just basic market structure and seeking pools of liquidity. Okay, so we've come down to OTE here. We have respected this area. We trade back, displacing above the 50% of the body to body range here. You could use the wicks as well, whatever you like. So I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna get rid of this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go right down to the 15-minute chart, and this wick right here, this was an NVIDIA news release wick, so keep that in mind for when we're looking on the 1 minute chart. Okay, so super solid market maker model right off the rip on the internal 1 minute here. So this is like a fractalized model down inside of itself, you know, multiple orders of magnitude. And if you go down to like a sub 1 minute, which obviously you don't have to, but like this one right here is one. This one on like a 1 second chart, this high, smart money reversal. That's our original consolidation, takes it out right here. But it's all fractalized down, right? So your market maker model structures are fractalized down along with your OTE continuations, okay? But I just wanted to kind of go through some of the price action for today. But obviously we opened with a beautiful model, market maker buy model. We come up to just above 50% of this range. And this is not perfect here. I'm just marking things out here. So right around this EQ, we accumulate, we manipulate down, we distribute higher. And today's price action was a little bit more of an accumulation day. However, looking for longs was kind of the MO that I was going for. I did trade both sides of the market. I tend to do that often. I tend to try and get in on both sides of the curve here. Or what I've actually been practicing on paper is I'll trade the left side of the curve similar to how I would anticipate, you know, like a larger player entering their orders, because they're so large, they have to basically like size in, almost like averaging in. And then, but I did it wrong today, but I digress. I'll show you when we get to that point. That will make sense. All right, so let's put on this indicator. Holy cow. Timeline. Okay, so I have my timelines indicator on. This essentially just tells me what the zones that I'm interested in trading are. And obviously I don't strictly stick to like, I have to trade this zone. I use discretion, right? So it's not as mechanical. There are mechanical aspects to how I trade. However, it's much more discretionary based at this moment in time, I'll say, because obviously I'm always learning and always changing. There we go. There's our 930 open. Okay. So 930 opens, we've been bullish. Basically what I'm seeing here is all of these stacked lows here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So 930 right here, it's like right here. 930 opens, we leave this data wick. I count this as a data wick low to be taken at a later time. Okay, so that's our 930 open wick data. We take the high first. We have accumulated, look at the bodies of these candles, right? Now look at the tops here. Not as uniformly stacked. You do have a little bit of relative equal highs here. Not as obvious as all of these lows right here where the bodies are basically stopped. Let me get a box here. The bodies are basically just like stopping, like right here, right? This whole area, a lot of area that would be trusted for a stop loss, I would imagine, right? I don't know this for a fact. I'm not actually looking at the level 2 data, but I would imagine that just based on the behavior of the bulk of the volume being the body, we make this spike down and then we immediately go higher. I would say that this is the left side of the curve. Okay. This is the left side of the curve of the counter trend before the actual move of the day. Okay. So internally, this is our smart money reversal down here. Okay. This is our counter trend play. So our counter trend market maker model before the real move sets up. If you've seen previous videos, that oftentimes I've been seeing this happen, but we then end up going higher, we trade lower, and then we have a super nice 11 a.m. reversal. Hold on. We do have a super nice late morning reversal here. It's not quite 10 a.m. reversal. It's like in between 10 and 11. It's like right towards the end, the 10:50 time is where that low was put in on the 1 minute chart, but a little bit of a whipsaw back and forth here. However, I am liking this for a market maker model. I was thinking that we were going to do something like this and then trade above at least these highs. We didn't do that. We ended up coming back to OTE before that. All right, so we ended up trading up. I did get in on this move up, but then I was taken out. My last contract did not run all the way up to my full target, which was up top here. But I did notice that we came down. Now, it wasn't as clean, so that's okay. But could use body to body here, but it would be a little bit off. So you see this here, right? So you see this area right here, we accumulate, but then we go lower. So I do like the wick. And this is the hardest part about trading is discretionary based and what you're looking at. But I've talked about that in past videos. I don't need to go over that. I don't need to glaze that right now. Okay, so we come down to OTE just below it. We break below it. Bodies are closing slightly below technically the OTE line on the very bottom. That is our 79% level. We then trade higher. So I'm basically seeing this right here as the SMR, smart money reversal of the market maker buy model. Left side of the curve here was a little bit quick, manipulation heavy, taking out the data wick low here. We then trade back down to that area where these bodies are here. Technically it's OTE. I do like the bodies of this right here though. Just look at where the bodies of these candles stop, basically telling me that, okay, so if we do trade higher, I would see this as some type of, strength point for this asset to go higher. Okay. So multiple ways to see the same thing here. You got your bodies here, you got your OTE. We then end up trading higher, and this move was what I was hoping to be a part of. However, this area right here, it stopped me out in profit, and then it hit my target was this. Okay. And how frustrating that the NVIDIA news release for that data that comes out at, I think it was like 1512 or something. So just before it spiked, I forget. I was looking on Financial Juice and it was something about NVIDIA. I was not aware of it, but I was looking for the high to be taken out here. I was looking for this high right here, right, to be taken for our market maker buy model on the right side of the curve, right? So again, I was looking on my higher time frame play, right? This is like the hourly play that we're looking for. And then on the higher time frame in that, we're also in a larger market maker buy model, okay, right? So then what am I looking for here, right? Down here, I was looking for longs. We did short this. down here, looking for longs again, but I was looking to come up above here. And that's where I made the mistake is it was just too early, and that's going to happen, right? But then later on in the session, we have another setup here. We hit this guy right here. So I'll bring it down to there. So we hit OTE here, right? And this is basically what set up the next fractal market maker buy model for me. So this being an OTE supported MMXM and market maker buy model in particular, targeting the first original consolidation. I guess you could say would be here. If you wanted to go and fractalize that out a little bit further, let me go here. And then even further for like the full internal 1 minute model would be like here. And then the actual target of the delivery profile that we're in for the hourly market maker buy model would be this right here, previous day high between midnight and midnight. So previous day high from 1800 is going to be different than previous day high from midnight to midnight. 1800 is the actual daily candles high and low. Midnight to midnight is between the two midnight opening prices, or I should say just midnight prices that print on the 1 minute and hourly chart. But hopefully that makes sense here. If I zoom this back in, this becomes a fractal market maker buy model inside of a market maker buy model inside of a market maker buy model, with the extra confluence of continuation of that model being OTE. Okay, super, super, super simple, right? You see the market maker model structure. You then come back to OTE. So you have your MMXM or your OTE. Okay, and for anybody who knows, they know that that's a gem. Okay, and for anyone who doesn't know, don't listen to me. But yeah, this was a solid play, man. Like I was in this trade. I got tapped out right down here. My last two, I think it was. So basically, I'll show you actually. I'll just show you. All right, so let's just go over that quick. So the last trade of the day I took on the paper trading account because I had already traded the Lucid and we were done for the day. Okay, so when I was mentioning trying to trade more like how I imagine larger players would, imagine you have such a large order. And I think I did this backwards. So like this is like new to me. This is the first day I've ever done this. On paper trading, of course, testing new strategies with paper trading is obviously the recommended method. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. And this is just my experience. So basically I'm seeing this right here. As we come back down into this, I'm seeing this as OTE. However, I'm anticipating this move to then come up to take out the previous day high, because we've engineered all of these highs, right? So once this high was put in and then this high was put in just below that, I was thinking, okay, I'm thinking that we're going to engineer a buy side and we're going to gear up towards our entry, our final entry, to then unload our positions higher, right? Unload them off above here if possible, if possible. It didn't end up working out that way for me. This is the first time I've ever tried to do this, but so size in here, here and here. I did this opposite. So if I was actually doing this the appropriate way, from the way that my logic tells me, is I have a reverse pyramid. There's more weight above me, right? That's not how this should be. You want to build the base first, right? So there should be 1 here, 2 here, 3 or 4 here. The max amount on your lowest entry is, I think, what would work best for me. And then peeling those off in, whatever fashion. So we ended up coming up. We didn't get the reaction that I thought we were going to have once we came above these highs. So once this high was put in here and these bodies were closing below that, I was like, okay, I don't like that. I'm going to get out. 5 contracts. So I was 7 on, got off there. And then I trailed my stop because we were in profit, right? And then this ends up coming down and stopping me out. I thought this was going to be more of like an internal OTE here or something, like a fractal OTE with a market maker model in itself, like on the sub 1 minute, come down to OTE and then go. But that's not the case. And obviously, that's going to happen. Not going to get it right every time. But aligning myself with the flow of liquidity is one of the skill sets that I'm getting better at. So just messing around with these types of things on paper trading is it's very fun for me to do, but it also helps me work out the muscles of being able to see these things in the moment and then react on them a little bit quicker, because I have really, really good hindsight knowledge, and I can break down the chart and I could figure out what I'm seeing very easily. And then oftentimes I do a pretty great job of seeing where price is going to go. But then in the moment when I'm actually trading, there are some times where I tend to go snowblind, and just bridging that gap of the knowledge base with the execution is, I think, one of the most difficult things, but I'm getting so much better. I'm taking trades now on my Lucid account and my paper trading account that I never would have been taking just like a couple months ago, let alone like when I first started. I think like it was like basically 3 years ago. And I think I've only been with ICT concepts for maybe 2 years now. The whole first year was kind of just like fumbling, figuring things out. Like what is a contract for, what is a futures contract? Like I don't understand anything. What is long, what is short? I knew nothing, but I digress. We can get into that at a different time. But yeah, so I got taken out of this one, and then NVIDIA earnings release and just blasted right up to my target. Is that super suspicious? Sure. Right. I mean, I had the right draw on liquidity. I had the structure in place with market structure, all the other tools that I'm using. But unfortunately, I managed the trade a little bit too tightly. Got taken out. So the paper trading account is sitting at 1,241.25 for profit. Started at 50K. I can go through the balance history to show you. So we started, what is today's date? Today's the 16th. So we started on the 13th is when I loaded the 50K account for paper. This is all demo only, and obviously not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. Cannot stress that enough. So these are the fees and then the positions, couple losses in here. But yeah, so we're sitting pretty good. I have a 3K profit target on the paper account. So if I pass that, I will then reset it and basically do another one and just kind of go over and over and over again just to kind of get the reps in. I have moved my Lucid account to my phone now. So instead of when I'm on my phone, I'll be trading on my Lucid account instead of on paper trading. I've gotten much better at trading on my phone. So I'll be trading both accounts, I guess, on both devices. More than likely, though, if I'm on my phone, I'll be on my Lucid account. It's just a little bit easier to have access to. And I tend to take all my best trades on my phone, which I've come to find lately is surprising. But maybe it's a little bit of analysis paralysis when I have my big monitor up. I don't know. We're still developing our skill sets, and we're basically honing our edge still. Doing pretty good lately, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm super stoked with the progress that I've been making. And I hope anybody who's watching this can also feel that way, because it's very exciting. Obviously, the market will humble you very quickly. Like there are a couple losses that I took the last couple days, but thankfully I just stuck with the plan and ride the probabilities, and we're doing good. We're doing pretty good. So, and that's actually really enjoyable for me to hear myself say, because it has not always been going good, because trading is very, very challenging. It's very challenging, but I digress. All right, so what are we doing here? We're kind of chopping around. Let's just pull up the Lucid account. So we were sitting at $260 profit on the account. So not much, but hey, profit's profit. I'm taking this pretty slowly, pretty much 1 to 3 micros on my trades. If there are a high probable like A+ setup, I'll do 5 contracts. But let's just jump over to TradeZella here. Calendar look. Okay, so we have just the Tradeovate account on here, just the one. This is just my Lucid 50K. And then we have last week 304. So I just did 1 day. I just wanted to keep that week's profits. I didn't want to ruin it. And then today coming in for Monday, 6 trades, 127. I got chopped up a little bit on the beginning portion of the day, and then we made that back by plenty on the last 2 moves that I took. So yeah, so not too bad. Unfortunately, that one trade, that last trade took me out. Oh no. Oh, so I took another continuation trade down here. I remember that. Okay. So this is that one that I was talking about where we came down to the OTE right? So this came down to OT of this range here. We're averaging in, peeling some off, peeling some off, peeling some off. And then we come back down, and this one, where was that move today? Oh no, this was the first market maker buy model here. So this is the one where I was trying to come up above here, and then I got stopped out here. And then and then the last trade of the day, I took a continuation lower because I was seeing this as a failed this here. So this one was a little bit of a continuation play. So we had failed this market maker model coming up here. I was looking for us to come down to, I'm not going to use that. Looking for us to come down to OTE of this low to this high, right? So we then end up stalling out here. We look like the bodies are holding bearish here. You grab this and then so you sell this here, and then I bought it back here. And that was the last one for the day. And then this trade here was I was buying here, buying at the very bottom here. And then we unloaded here, and then unfortunately got stopped out in profit here. And then our full TP for the daily objective was hit. So after battling throughout this today and then having this happen, I was a little bit bittersweet. Green on the day, but NQ, sometimes, man, NQ, I'll tell you. NQ is just, sometimes it just feels like it's out to get you. But it's okay. Price action is always perfect, so. It was me who was the problem. I managed the trade a little bit too tightly. Okay, so with that being said, let's pull up the chart here. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of everything on here. And this is the paper trading account. So if you look at the last video I did, you can see that these are the trades that I was talking about. They're still here. So I'm actually trading this account like I would, a real challenge account. Granted, I'm still in the beginning stages of this, and I'm still working on passing that challenge. And I think it's going to happen inevitably. I'm trying to give myself more space and freedom to just kind of take 20 steps back and not feel so stressed out about this, and then make this whole situation of trading a little bit more enjoyable, something that I want to do. And I want to show up to the screen and to the charts continuously, right? And that's why I'm making these videos, because I'm just sitting down, hanging out, after my normal workday, and then on the weekends, just going through charts. It's like what I find the most, it's like what I find to be the most interesting thing of all time. This is like all consuming of my thought process most of the day. Not to say that this is like taking over my life. There are moments where it tends to do that and it goes in waves, but I love trading. I don't know what it is. I absolutely love it. If you can develop an edge for yourself, something that makes sense, the concepts click with you, show up to the chart and just let the chart tell you what to look at. Over time, that's just going to get easier and easier and easier. And I think that's the key, man. I think that's what they mean when you need to look at the charts for 100,000 hours, is you need to look at the charts not from a fight or flight mode. But a little bit deep for a quick market review topic for today. So why don't we wrap this up here? Not a bad day. Not a great day, but not a bad day. And we'll check out how things are going tomorrow. So if anyone is watching this, I appreciate you for watching, and consider subscribing if you're not already. If you're interested in anything futures trading related or trading in general, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.